Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today is Sunday, October 26th, 2025, and yesterday, Saturday, October 25th, 2025, was the first day of early in-person voting in every single state where there is an election going on. So today we'll be looking at data in New York City, New Jersey, and Virginia, the three top elections happening in 2025 in the United States. So make sure to subscribe and like for more updates like this, and let's get into it. So here we're going to start off with New York City. So the data here is pretty simple. It's just giving us the vote per borough, because obviously New York City has boroughs. It is 5 boroughs. So before we look at this, I do want to pull up the primary election for New York City mayor that happened in June. So we see here that Zohran Mamdani, we all know this one, he surprisingly won the primary against establishment candidate Andrew Cuomo. He beat him by 7% in the first round, and when all the other candidates were eliminated, Zohran Mamdani won by 13%. So we look at the boroughs now. Zohran Mamdani won 3 of the boroughs: Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, while Andrew Cuomo won the Bronx and Staten Island. If we look here, the boroughs with the most votes, Brooklyn is the one with the most votes, 381,000 votes. Mamdani won it by the most. He won it by a whopping 18%. While Manhattan and Queens, the second and third most populous, both went to Manhattan, both went to Mamdani by less than 10%. But Cuomo, he won the Bronx and Staten Island, the two way least populous boroughs. The Bronx doesn't even have half of the population, barely has half of the population of Queens, and Staten Island has actually quite a bit, but it has no Democrats, so that's why it has no votes in this primary, and Cuomo won it by 8. The reason why Andrew Cuomo does so well in the Bronx, and he is also polling well in the Bronx in general election polling, that includes Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa and Zohran Mamdani, obviously. Cuomo does really well with African American voters. So, yeah, what we're seeing here is probably we're gonna have, you're gonna expect, Brooklyn to have the most votes on early voting day 1. No, that's actually Manhattan. Manhattan had 24,000 votes. Brooklyn comes in second with 22,000, and Queens 19,045. The Bronx with around 8,000, and Staten Island with around 6,000. Not many early voters coming out from the Bronx. So we're gonna compare this to 2021. 2021, you had very low turnout because it was not competitive at all. The Democrats nominated Eric Adams, and Republicans also nominated back then as well Curtis Sliwa. So it was not competitive at all. But we're going to compare this to 2021. So Manhattan compared to 2021, it actually was able to multiply itself from 2021 by 5.27 times the amount from 2021. The Bronx, way lower. You see here, 7,793 compared to 2,079, only 3.75 times the amount. Brooklyn, 22,105 to 3,751. This is actually very big. The largest out of any borough, 5.9. So, this was Zohran Mamdani's best borough. I guess his voters were just really enthusiastic to turn out on day 1. So that's why there was such a big difference between 2021 and 2025 in Brooklyn. And I don't believe Eric Adams did that well in Brooklyn. He did really well in the Bronx, obviously. Brooklyn, I don't think it was that well. It didn't do that good for Eric Adams. Queens, 19,045 to 3,441. That's around 4.05 times the amount from 2021. And Staten Island, once again, no, not 4.05, 5.54 the amount from 2021 for Queens. And Staten Island is 6,420 to 1,584. That's also pretty low, 4.05. So what we just saw here is that Mamdani's best borough has the highest turnout compared to 2021. And Andrew Cuomo's boroughs that he won in the primary are doing the worst compared to the other boroughs when you compare them to 2021. So this is very, very good news for the Zoran Mamdani campaign. I mean, he's already favored. He's leading in the polls by double digits every single time. So, yeah, very good news for Zoran Mamdani. I mean, that's kind of it for New York. I want to take a look at New Jersey now. New Jersey, you have, it was early voting, and you had, I believe, 90,446 votes in total, 38,039 registered Democrats, 35,512 registered Republicans, and 16,895 other voters. These are like non-affiliated and registered with other party. So in total, that's a D plus 2.79% edge there. And when you compare this to 2024, Democrats only led by 1.6%. So that's around a 1 point gain from 2024. And if we look here, in 2024, Democrats won the state of New Jersey by around 6%. 252,000 votes. 51.8 to 45.9. That's 5.9%, almost 6%. So New Jersey, it did shift to the right by quite a lot. I mean, the country really did in 2024. Wait, how do we do this? Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Oh, shift. Wait, let's just refresh this. But New Jersey shifted to the right by quite a bit in 2024, by 10%. Other states shifted to the right, like New York, but I think it was one of the largest shifts. And you see here, every single county shifted to the right in the state of New Jersey in 2024. But some didn't shift to the left, right by that much. For example, Huntington County, only 2.3%. But the largest counties that shifted to the right were Passaic and Hudson. The largest county in the state of New Jersey is Bergen County. It shifted to the right by 13.1%. And some other big counties are Ocean and Monmouth. So, if we go back to 2024, on Saturday of the first weekend of early in-person voting, 135,075 ballots were cast. So, 135,075 compared to, what was it in this weekend, on Saturday, 90,446 compared to 135,075. Obviously, that's a big decrease right there. Around a 33% decrease from 2024. Obviously, it was a much larger election, but on Sunday, in 2024, it dipped a bit to 111,928. So once we have more early voting from Sunday, I'm going to be posting this on Monday, so there's probably definitely going to be a lot more early voting updates, but this is the first one, so make sure to subscribe with notifications on. But definitely lower turnout than 2024. Not surprising, this is an off-year election. Some voters just aren't enthusiastic to turn out, but yeah, that's around 67% of 2024's first day voting. So we read it down a bit more. So the most populous county, 24,447 in Bergen County. In 2025, in Bergen County, only 8,457. That's less than a third. So 24,447 divided by 8,457. So this is like a third, and Bergen was one of Donald Trump's best counties that shift to the right, because you don't have that many that shifted to the right by double digits in 2024. You see here, most of them shifted to the right by only 7, but it was a more populous counties that shifted to the right that was able to bring it to a double-digit shift in 2024. So, having such low turnout compared to 2024 in, for example, Bergen here, that is not good for Donald Trump, because this is only 34.59% of the 2024 turnout in Bergen County. If we look at another county, Monmouth, 23,952. That shifted to the right by 8.6%, lower than the state average, but that's fine, right? 8.6% to the right. 23,952. Monmouth, only 9,594. Monmouth actually has more votes than Bergen this weekend. So, slightly less of a shift, but also slightly higher of turnout. So 23,952 divided by So what we're saying here is I believe 40% in Monmouth of turnout compared to 2024 in Ocean County. This one shifted to the right by, I believe, 7.1%. That's actually kind of low compared to some of these other counties, but still pretty high. The largest shifts happened in North Jersey, in way more populous areas like Hudson. So in Ocean County, you had 7,822 votes. So that's actually a only 33% of 2024's turnout. So yeah, like these larger and populous counties, it's not looking like much turnout on day one. And like these smaller counties, right? Salem, like these smaller counties, these more rural counties, they actually shifted to the right by less. Like Salem only shifted right by 6.3%. Let's see, Cape May only shifted to the right by 3.2%. So like, look at these. Like if you compare these votes to 2024's first day turnout, they're actually not as bad, right? No, maybe they're turning out at like 50%, 60%, 70%. Because these ones, like these people who are anti-Trump, they're more enthusiastic to turn out in New Jersey. So right now, it's not looking that good for Jack Ciattarelli. But I do want to point out something else. Right now, Democrats are leading by 2% in the early voting for the day one. If we compare this back to some other races, 2021 during the New Jersey governor's race back then, Democrats were up by 17%. If you look at the final results there, Democrats only won by 3%. So that's a 14% shift to the right compared when you compare the first day early voting to the final result. 2022, during the House midterms, there's no like statewide race, but during the House races in New Jersey, Democrats were leading by 19% in the first day. If you go here, House 2022, you can see that Democrats only won the popular vote by 10%. That is a 9-point shift to the right in 2022 from the first day early voting compared to the final result. But 2024, you see a much different scenario. Democrats only led by 1% in early voting on day one. The final result, you saw Kamala Harris win by almost 6%. So that's a 5-point shift to the left from the first day early voting compared to the final results. So this is really interesting if you want to compare it to the governor's race or last year's elections. So it's really interesting to see what happens there. Okay, but that's it for New Jersey. I'm going to go talk about Virginia now. Virginia, you have 645,000 people turning out on day one. I think this is that, right? Yeah. 58% statewide turnout compared to 2024. So that's actually really interesting. Obviously, turnout is going to be lower than 2021. But it is, yeah. Actually, no, that is interesting. 2021 was extremely close. I mean, Glenn Youngkin won by 1%. So definitely interesting to see here, because you already have way more people voting on early in person than a mail-in, because you had a couple weeks, it's been almost a month of mail-in, and you only have 253,000 returns, and it's over 500,000, 2/3 of a million people turning out on one day for this governor's race. So yeah, definitely watch Virginia. But what he's talking about here is that in 2024, if you go to Virginia, you look at the comparing, you see here that Democrats, they in the state of Virginia, only 13 of the municipalities shifted left to the Democrats in 2024. So Virginia as a whole only shifted right by 4.3%, but only 13 municipalities shifted to the left. So of those 13, in the 5 largest turnout comparisons to 2024, 4 of them are in the top 5. Number 1, Williamsburg City. Number 2, Goochland. Number 3, James City. And number 5, Powhatan. So, and 5 of them are in the top 10 because York's number 8. So, and all but one of them are in the top 50% of turnout compared to 2024. That's Salem City, who's ranked 78th. So, that's actually very interesting as well. That's good news for the Democrats. So, obviously, there's going to be much more coming soon, and we will analyze that. But that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.